Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. We are live on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers and chop blockers. What do we? Oh yeah, gotta get Buddy in this picture also. It's just us today. It's just us, baby doll. Let's get set up for a podcast here. Is anybody out there actually listening to the podcast? Probably not. That's fine. I wouldn't either, to be honest with you. Steve's in the house. I know Steve. I know Steve listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Periodically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing with your microphone. But whatever.
I don't know. You got it.
Well, I know, but you got like this whole. Dude. No. Got this clipped around here. I don't know what you do. All right, here we go. That's better. You're all. Hey, Inky Binky's in the house. Hey, Brianna.
Hi, honey.
I'm not nearly as sick as I sound, so there's that. All right, you ready to start the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, hold on. I didn't say I was.
Oh.
We're missing a microphone, by the way. Probably underneath all of this work.
There it is. Whoa. Hang on there, guys.
Okay, here we go. Shelly's in the house. Hey, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly.
The May 3rd episode of Mother's Day, June 7th episode of Father's Day. Okay, excellent. Not me. I'm the lucky one, you could say. All right, Steve, whatever you say.
All right.
Okay. Whenever you are ready, Mr. Buddy, we're going to be talking about Treehouse. Okay. That's right, inmates. We are talking about Treehouse from 2019. Now, this is part of the Into the Dark horror anthology series. What this is a pairing between Hulu and Blumhouse Entertainment. Now, they're calling it a horror anthology, but each episode is actually the length of a full-length feature film. And apparently, unbeknownst to me, each episode is supposed to be based on or inspired by a holiday.
Yeah.
Now, having seen this particular episode / movie, I do not see a holiday in this.
No.
Did you catch a holiday?
No.
Anybody out there catch any holidays? Has anybody seen this movie? Has anybody seen Treehouse on Hulu? I'm thinking Arbor Day, perhaps. That's a stretch. There's no mention of it at all. There is a wedding party involved. That's not really a holiday, unless you count like an anniversary. The Treehouse episode is International Women's Day.
Really?
Okay, I did not know that. Okay, all right, I'll buy that, Tom. That makes more sense than Arbor Day, really. We'll go with that. I think we're both sick. Are we both sick all of a sudden? I told you it's not a good idea to make out with me. It's disgusting. So this one stars Stephanie Beatrice, Nancy Lenahan Charles, and Jimmy Simpson.
Yeah.
You guys familiar at all with Jimmy Simpson?
Love this guy.
Do you?
Yeah.
He's got a very punchable face to me. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's a talented actor, but whenever I see him, I just want to smack him down. You'll know him from such timeless classics as Rose Red, Westworld. What else was he in? Stay Alive. Oh, it was like a TV show, right?
Yeah.
They were like hackers or something like that. See, something like that. I remember that. You're a big fan of that show, are you? All right, whatever. If only Monica was on the show to celebrate International Women's Day. I tell you, Tom, that hoodie of hers would come right up. And her parole officer isn't here today, so woo! Nipples flying is what I'm telling you. Anyway, so this one starts off with the aforementioned Jimmy Simpson playing a celebrity chef with a reality show, a guy by the name of Peter Rake. And I don't know what it is about celebrity chefs, but apparently they all have to be assholes.
Right?
I think. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Gordon Ramsay just kind of made this like typecast type of a situation where that's just what they all are. They're all fucking assholes. I've never worked in the restaurant industry. Have you?
No.
I've never been a waiter or been I eat sandwiches and cereal exclusively, so that's the extent of my culinary expertise. But I would like to think that I could, get people's food ready without being a dickhead about it.
Right?
Yelling and screaming and fucking off and all that. So you don't just calm the hell down, sir.
Mm-hmm.
If his ham sandwich is 5 minutes late, he'll still get his fucking ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's probably more of a like a reality TV thing than an actual. I don't know. Are chefs actually dickheads? Anybody out there been in the food service industry? I would love to know about it. The head chef, the highfalutin chef, if there is such a thing. I don't know. You probably won't find that at like a Red Robin or a GGI Fridays. Monica, I find an international woman who needs a green card, and we exchange goods for services. That is a porno in the making, Tom. I love it. Okay. This one got 4.8 stars on IMDb. That is exceptionally low, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with the ending. We're going to get to that in a second. So we have this dickhead celebrity chef, Peter Rake, and we find out, like, right off the bat, I felt like he was completely unlikable. And that's just from a guy's standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of these douche holes that just has, like, witty repartee lined up for everything. Like any kind of a like standard, these chefs they're making me look bad and I can't have that on my TV show and all this crap.
Right.
He takes a break from his TV show for a second. We find out he has a daughter and an ex-wife. His ex-wife is actually on the verge of getting remarried. And the teenage daughter, is all pissed off about that because she has to go to her mom's wedding as opposed to spending the weekend with her dad, which she would much prefer to do. So this is good news and bad news because Dad, Peter, already has the weekend off and he's going to his parents' house. And now he's got like a free weekend all to himself, which apparently he doesn't get too often.
Right.
That sucks, but we get like a snapshot of the strained relationship between him and his daughter. Mm-hmm. And it's turbulent at best. He's got like a personal assistant that is spending quality time with his daughter as opposed to him like taking her to all the amusement parks and stuff like that. Right. So that's kind of wacky, but I guess that's what you come to expect from reality TV show hosts, right? Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers. So from there, we cut to him taking the very scenic drive to the very upscale residence of his parents where he's going to be spending the weekend. I'm saying probably Northern California, somewhere on the coast.
Yeah.
Is that what you got?
No, that'd work.
Yeah. A very, very big house. It's clear from the get-go that this dude comes from a lot of money.
Yeah.
Steve Hold hello from South. Oh, Susan's in the house from South Boston.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, Susie. Have you seen Are you on Hulu, Susie? Have you seen this Treehouse thing or any of these Into the Dark movies? I would venture to say that some of them are worth a watch. I don't know that this one is, but we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, he gets to the big picturesque house, and we find out that he actually has a sister that is meeting him there. And before he gets to the house, he stops at the bait station, and he kind of bumps into one of his old high school friends, a guy by the name of Lonnie, who appears to be, let's just say, slow. I think is an accurate description. Alan's in the house. What's up, Alan?
Hey, Alan.
The High Lord Cha-Cha of people that call into the podcast. So this dude he owns and runs this bait shop. So apparently, right off the bat, we know that there's this is a rural, secluded area, and there's a lot of hunting and fishing and things like that going on. And apparently, this bait shop is doing fairly well because he's still in business. A guy by the name of Lonnie. Apparently, Lonnie had a thing with Peter's sister when they were in high school. Peter treats him more or less like a special needs child.
Yeah.
Like a lot of little jabs at him that Lonnie doesn't fully understand.
Right.
And just being a general dickhead all around. Has anybody seen this movie? Hey, Ginger's in the house. What's up, Ginger?
Hey, Ginger.
I feel like for me personally, Jimmy Simpson just has a face that needs a good roundhouse kick. And
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's married to the chick from 2.5 Men, which is great. They met on the set of Rose Red, as a matter of fact. But whenever I see that, I think it. Have you ever seen Stay Alive? Have you seen that movie? It's got Freddie Muniz, whatever that fucking guy's name is. Freddie Muniz in it. It's about a haunted video game. And Jimmy Simpson's in it. He plays a world-class cocksucker.
Huh.
And not that far off, actually, from the character he's playing in this movie. But if you've seen him in Westworld, he's actually kind of a decent dude. And he's like one of the only guys that wants to treat the robots with any kind of respect.
All right.
If you've ever seen Westworld. I'm going off on a tangent. Who gives a shit about Westworld? Anyway, this character, Peter Rake, world-class piece of shit. Now, via some phone calls, we're going to find out that he's actually kind of laying low for the weekend.
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is because he has got himself wrapped up in a bit of a scandal there, inmates. Turns out he's been sexually harassing the kitchen staff, and there are some other sexual misconduct allegations flying around.
That's not good.
Things of that nature. It's not good, man. I kind of feel like that's what he's basically being Gordon Ramsay, is he not? He's playing like a lesser version of Gordon Ramsay, a slightly, I don't know, more attractive or less attractive. I don't know. I don't watch any of these kitchen shows, to be honest with you. He's playing a dickhead and a bit of a chauvinist and a bit of a misogynist, and we're going to find out in a few minutes, a bit of a rapist. Also, if you understand what I'm telling you. This is going to snap into focus as soon as he goes to leave the bait shop and a car full of hot chicks pull up. And they are there also. They've rented a place nearby, like a cabin, and they're staying there as part of a bachelorette party. With these chicks, we have the standard run-of-the-mill. They're all screaming hot, I'll tell you that. But these characters are very one-sided. Okay, whenever we have a big group of chicks, we have to cover all ethnicities and all regions with it, which is very strange to me. So we have our. I mean, there's really no explanation given as to how these chicks came together. It's very reminiscent to me of the "It's a Small World" ride at Disneyland. Okay, so we have the token African American chick who happens to be, I guess, the bride that is getting married.
Yeah.
We have the older chick. We have a Puerto Rican chick who, because she's Puerto Rican, every other word out of her mouth has to be "ooh, puppy."
Yeah.
All right, we're playing up some ethnic stereotypes here, boys. We also have a wildly out of place English chick who knows where the fuck she came from.
Right.
Very, very strange.
Really is.
Very strange group of women to be hanging out together, and we get no explanation really as to how any of these chicks came to know each other. A group of hot chicks always looks like an ad for a community college.
Yeah,
you are exactly right. You are exactly right, Tom. It's gonna take on some other advertising angles here in a minute. So all these chicks roll up as Peter is pulling out, and they kind of exchange some glances. There is, of course, one very innocent-looking. I guess you'd call her like the hippy dippy of the group.
Yeah.
Kind of. She's got, kind of like the homely look. She's, of course, wildly attractive. And Peter gives her the eye, and she kind of flirts him up a little bit. And then off they go. Peter gets to his house, or I guess his parents' house, where we find out that they actually have like a live-in maid. And her name's Agnes. She's been like the maid for generations. And in comes Peter's sister, who is now the actual district attorney of, I guess, whatever town is nearby. And we get like a snapshot of their relationship. It, of course, is very tenuous. We find out that Peter was not welcomed at his father's funeral.
Right.
He was not in good terms with his father. He and his sister haven't spoken in about 3 years. And what exactly prompted this little get-together, I'm not 100% sure. But they're together, and they're going to be hanging out for the weekend until Charlotte's phone rings, and she has to take off. So away she goes because she's got to go prosecute somebody, and there's new evidence of some sort. A group of hot chicks I know would look like an ad for rehab.
Oh,
I didn't think of that,
yeah.
Scarlett. You're
Very
right.
true, yeah.
You're right. I've never been addicted to drugs, but whenever I see a commercial for a rehab facility, I want to go. It looks very soothing and relaxing, and it feels like I could get a lot of therapy out of it.
And meet a lot of chicks.
Yeah, probably be fucking left and right. But well, I don't know. I know it's very expensive. It's like $4,000 a month, and your insurance probably ain't gonna pay for that. But maybe I could I'm addicted to Mortal Kombat 11, so maybe I need rehab for that. I don't think they're gonna let me in for a Mortal Kombat addiction. No, probably just gonna laugh at me and tell me to get the fuck out of there. Mm-hmm. Quit playing Mortal Kombat, you loser. Yeah, grow up. Will you grow up, you son of a bitch? Look at you. You're out there playing video games. Anyway, so Peter's there, and we get some weird little snippets and flashbacks here of what's going on with Peter. First thing we notice right when he walks in is one of his father's paintings has been replaced by another painting of a somewhat morose looking young lady with black eyes sitting on a picnic blanket with cheese and wine and a bloody knife. Mm-hmm. That's kind of out of place. Mm-hmm. And it's a bit gothic, I think, nothing else. So he's like, hey, that's kind of creepy. And then we're going to get to know Agnes a little bit better. She's apparently blind or on the verge of going blind. We know that because her eyes are completely pale. Mm-hmm. And she's smoking weed, which I guess is good for cataracts. Yeah. Right? So maybe she has cataracts. Maybe I need to get some cataracts. So, we're in Nevada. We're in Nevada. It doesn't fucking matter. It's legal. It's legal here. I can go down to the store and get it anytime I want. Hey, Raven. You can be addicted to anything now. You're right, Scarlett. Yeah. I can be addicted to anything. But what I need to know is what's going to get me into rehab. Because I need some paid time off vacation from work. And I would also like to hook up with hot chicks in a weird spa, something with a hot tub. It looks but porn. I'm addicted to porn.
Is that a question or
I don't know. I think I just discovered something about myself, guys. I'm gonna call Shady Acres or whatever it is and see if I can't get a seat. Woo! Oh, I'm sorry. Am I late to group? I just my arm's a little sore. All right, so that's fun. This house is huge and it's very picturesque and it's very it's some place where we would want to hang out. And it's kind of creepy because now he's stuck there by himself with the going blind maid or housemaid or I don't know what you call her, cleaning lady, if nothing else. Anyway, we're gonna cut to that night. He's there and he's just kind of hanging out, having a glass of whatever. And there's a knock on the door, and it happens to be the hot hippy dippy chick that he saw back at the old bait shop. And he's like, "Oh my, hello." Now, if we didn't already know, it's gonna get hammered home what a fuckface this guy is because we get a story from her. Apparently, the power went out on her side of the street, and now her and all of her cronies, for lack of a better term, are over there without power. And she came over to borrow some candles and flashlights and some other essentials. Mm-hmm. So this guy just proceeds to barrage her with cheesy, I'm not going to call it witty repartee. I'm going to call it borderline annoying repartee. Mm-hmm. And he's not a dude that I would want to hang out with. And I don't feel, if I was a female, I would not be comfortable around him. Because it's obvious, it was obvious to me, I don't know if it's obvious to you, it's obvious to me from the get-go, he's trying to fuck her.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
very obvious.
I get that. She's hot, and he's like this successful reality show dude, and she recognized him. So, I don't know, man. It's just a little too obvious, a little too creepy, little too scumbaggery. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a word. Scumbaggery, scumbagish. A little too, you have a boner sticking out of your pants ish for me. So I get it. You're a hot chick. You probably think I'm Jeffrey Dahmer. Get the fuck out of here with this. Anyway, he gets her stuff and the candles and the flashlights, and she comes in and takes like a quick tour of the place, and then he sends her back to her powerless, without electricity group bachelorette party across the canyon there. So yeah, scumbaggery, Scarlett. Scumbaggery. I don't know if that's a word. I just made it up, but I'm going to put it in the Urban Dictionary. Scumbaggery in the first degree. Cold-blooded, premeditated, scumbaggery-ish, scumbaggery is what it is. That's exactly what it is. He has like some weird dreams that night. We get like little snippets of flashbacks of like women screaming and I think food being prepared and things like that. Wakes up the next morning and he's like, "Okay, I'm okay. I'm here. Everything's fine. I'm all by myself except for my cleaning lady." So he decides he's going to go for a run. Very cool. I'm a runner myself. Puts on his headphones, goes hauling ass outside into the woods. Headband. I'm just gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna let this go. He looks like a turd, but that goes without saying. He goes running past a treehouse. Okay, out in the woods. Now this treehouse is very strange to me because he runs past it and he's like, "Oh, that's the old treehouse," and he kind of like looks at it for a second, and then what's her name? Kara, the hippy dippy chick, shows up and she's like, "Hey, Peter, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they talk for a minute, and he explains that him and his sister spent a lot of time in this treehouse when they were kids. Right. Now, here's something strange about the treehouse. It looks like it was built by like a landscaping company. It looks like it had a parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It didn't look like a treehouse. It looked like a condo. Is what I'm thinking. It's like a 2-story situation.
Yeah, they did have money, so.
Well, I know, but it's still a fucking treehouse, buddy. It's not supposed. Whatever, man. I mean, this is obviously a very upscale neighborhood. Yeah. For all I know, it was built by like a landscaping company. I had a working elevator, pool out back. You park your car in the garage, and then you go to dishwasher, all that shit. Yeah. This is a very. Probably had more square feet than the house we're in right now. Right? Piss me off. I wonder what you pay for something like that. I'll live in a treehouse, dude. If I can get a good deal on it. Yeah, fucking treehouse. Anyway, he's like, "Oh, this is a treehouse that we spent a lot of time in." But as he's looking at it, he realizes that there's like a weird. He said it was a face. It looked to me more like it was just like a random array of sticks, like nailed to the front door. So he's like, "Oh, what is? Somebody defaced my treehouse when I was a kid. They put this fucking thing on the door." So anyway, Scarlett. Sorry, Scarlett. I don't know how you got dragged into this shit. Kara is talking to him, and he's explaining this. Here comes 2 more of the bachelorettes. The African-American young lady and the Puerto Rican young lady. Yeah. They come down and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, it's the celebrity chef guy." And he's like, "Yes, it's me." And he's like, "Oh, the African-American young lady is wearing a, what do you call that, a veil? As if to say, 'Hey, I'm getting married.'" And he's like, "Oh, you must be the kept woman." And she's like, "How dare you? You call me a kept woman? Do you know what that means? You son of a bitch." And he's like, whoa. I didn't mean to offend you. It's just like a figure of speech. I'm sorry." And then he's just like, "Oh, I'm just fucking with you." So the moral of this little segment is that Peter invites Kara and all of her bachelorette friends to the house so that he can cook them dinner because he's trying to fuck Kara. What he's trying to. And if not Kara, any one of her hot little friends, I'm sure. So she reluctantly agrees. They decide they're going to come over. He uses the pretense of he's experimenting with recipes for his new cookbook coming out.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, fair enough. He's a celebrity chef. To be honest with you, if a celebrity chef offered to cook me dinner, I'd probably take it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be good food.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
Worse is probably
You know, you're going to have to suffer through his witty repartee through the dinner, and he's going to try to fuck probably all 6 of these chicks at one point or another. You get a free meal out of it, you know. You don't have to go to McDonald's or anything.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'll do it. So they agree. He goes back, gets dinner ready, spends like all evening cooking and preparing stuff, and he's got his little housemaid working with him. Hey, just popping in a second. Kids too? What? In a kid zoo? I'm in a kid zoo.
Oh.
Scott's in a kid zoo.
Wow.
All right, Scott, thanks for joining us.
Don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. Keep the kids away from the lions thing. It can get very ugly. Obey the safety procedures, sir, please. Anyway, chicks come over. They all start drinking. They all bring bottles of wine for him. So the wine is flowing. Everybody's having cocktails and having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, he can't stop with this horse shit.
Oh.
And it's flirty to an extent, but like I don't know, he just like at one point, okay, these chicks are weird from the get-go. But at one point they're talking about one of them broke up with her fiance because I think he wanted to have a kid and she didn't want to have a kid, or there was some nuance about he wanted one at a certain time and she didn't think it was his place to tell him. I understand that. But here comes Peter Fuckface, and he's like, "Well, you know, men do most of the work in the relationship," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
dude. Oh, come on, man. I mean, even if you are a chauvinist fuckface, which you very well might be, if you're trying to get in these chicks' pants, you gotta keep it on the down low, dude. You gotta put that shit under, put it away for a second while you schmoozies. You're already halfway there. You made them dinner. You got them all liquored up. Dude. Well, that interesting point. We'll get to that in a second. But you're on your way there, dude. And most of these chicks are hot. You're getting them hammered. You made them a very nice dinner in this huge, lavish house. Chances are you're going to get your dick sucked by the end of the night if you play your cards right and keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, bring out.
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't stop running this fucking yapper. Yeah. And he's just digging himself a hole deeper and deeper as he goes. But he's trying to play the celebrity card on these chicks, and they are not. They're not buying it. I wouldn't either. He's a bit of a dickhole. Agnes got roped into it. The poor housemaid. Yeah. She's just trying to do her job. He's getting hammered, more hammered than the rest of the chicks. And as the night goes on, they step outside to like a fire pit type of a thing. And Peter makes them all these very lavish desserts, and he brings them out, and they're all like, "No, we're good, thanks anyway." Peter is now at this point visibly drunk. He's like staggering around. Agnes makes him a bowl of something. I'm going to call it soup.
It looks like a soup.
Like a nice bowl of sludge coming at you. And she's like, "Drink this. It'll help sober you up." So he drinks it, and then actually that just makes him even more woozy. So he goes out there and he makes even more misogynistic remarks, digging himself even deeper into a hole. Quickly realizes that these chicks are on the verge of punching him in the face, and decides that he's going to be like, "I'm sorry, ladies, I'm drunk. I'm just going to head on upstairs. Stay as long as you like. Help yourself to whatever's in the kitchen. Feel free to come on upstairs and suck my dick if you want to. I'll be the big spoon," or he had some fucking knucklehead joke about it. Some passive-aggressive last-ditch effort to get in somebody's pants, and then he goes upstairs and passes out. Good for him. So now we're going to cut to a couple hours later, I guess. I'm estimating the time here. Wakes up in the middle of the night and realizes that he's sleeping next to the English chick, who, in my humble opinion, was probably the hottest of the group. Wakes up and he's like, "Hey, I guess we got it on." She's passed out. Yeah, I guess we got it on there. So he gets up and he starts staggering around. Yeah. What the fuck has he been up to, man? I know, right? He's a goddamn serial killer. He's used to roofing these chicks, raping them, and then smothering them in their sleep, I think. Celebrity chefs, dude. Stay the fuck away from them. Especially if you're a young, attractive lady. They're looking to stab you or rape you or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he goes staggering out into and he's like, oh, fuck. Starts hearing weird folk music coming from the downstairs area.
Yeah.
If you hear weird folk music coming from your house, get the fuck out of there immediately. Have you not seen The Strangers? Weird folk music? Go right now. Out the door as fast as you can. Get in your car if you have the keys. If not, just run. Who gives a shit? So he goes downstairs to investigate the weird folk music. Gets down there and he's like stumbles into like this weird side room where the first thing he encounters is a random peacock, like bird with a big tail, peacock, just kind of moseying around this room. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? I'm still drunk." Starts looking around and then sees like this weird Wicker Man-esque totem, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
It's like a big effigy, I think is a good word. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but it's like a big thing, a big person that somebody has built out of random sticks and twigs, and it's creepy. So he's like, whoa, this is creepy as shit. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. So he hauls ass back upstairs to wake up Morgan, get her out of there. He's like, Morgan, I think Agnes worships the devil or peacocks or something. Goes upstairs, looks in the room that he just came out of. Morgan is no longer there. And the bed is made as if she was never there to begin with.
Right.
So he's like, oh, fuck, how much did I drink? As he's investigating this scene, there's a ding-dong at the doorbell. He goes and pokes his head around the corner, looks downstairs at the doorbell. What we see through the glass door is what I would call a mix between a Wicker type of a witch, if such a creature exists, like a very folksy kind of, like she's got like a weird, how would you describe that?
I don't even know.
She's got like a DIY witch thing going on. Like she made the whole, like a creepy mask and a weird folk artsy kind of a hat, like a headdress thing going. It's creepy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's creepy. It's creepy.
Oh, yeah.
And she's standing outside the door, and he's like, "What the shit is that? You're not coming in my house." Unfortunately, the front door is unlocked. So as he's standing upstairs looking down at her, he's like, "Yes, I am coming in. I'm just going to open the door and walk right in," which is exactly what she does. And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, what the fuck? Dude, so he starts backpedaling, trying to get it back into the bedroom, and now we hear Morgan in a different bedroom. She's like, "Hey, the door's locked." And he's like, "Let me in right now." As he's upstairs looking down, here comes this other individual from around the corner, wearing another like Wiccan folks already kind of a mask. Comes like hobbling around the corner and then just stops and stares at him, and then like goes running right past him, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So you're being home.
Creepy.
It was, but like if I'm being home invaded, I expect to be attacked.
Yeah.
You know, like okay, it's my house. You're in my house. If you want my shit, you're gonna have to fight me or like subdue me. You can't just go running right past. Hey, I'm here. Are you? Here I am. You gotta.
I think that'd be creepy.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, you're right. You're right. That would it would be confusing more than anything else.
Right? Like, come on,
hey,
that's like, what the hell?
I'm gonna call the cops if you don't get out here and fight me right now. I mean, I think I should call. I mean, unless he runs right out the door and just keeps going, in which case I'm just gonna. I think he was just lost more than anything. I don't know what he's doing. He didn't even. Are you gonna? I got a Blu-ray player. You want to take that? Are you robbing me? I don't know what you're doing. I think he's just lost more than anything. You want to come back and I got GPS. Find out where you're going. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Hey, Lake 12. You got to go around the lake. You can't just go through my house. What are you doing? Stupid. That's stupid. Anyway, so that's what happens, and then he's like, oh, and as this is happening, and the witch from downstairs is slowly creeping up the stairs toward him. He starts getting even more woozy, and then he's like, oh, I can't feel my arm. Oh, I can't feel my leg, and then he just collapses, and then he kind of he's still conscious. He's like looking, oh, what the hell? And then we see somebody drag him back into a hallway. Now we're going to cut to, I don't know, an hour or two later. He is now, he wakes up. Apparently he got punched unconscious or something. He wakes up. He's now strapped to a bed in a different room. He's still paralyzed, like from the neck down. He can't move any of his limbs. And he's like, he's got like a collar, like a dog collar around his neck, and he's chained to the bed.
Not a good thing.
No. He wakes up. Morgan is also unconscious. She's, hey, Nez is in the house.
Hey, Nez.
What's up, Nez? Morgan is also unconscious. She's laying at his feet on the bed. So he's like, Morgan, you gotta wake up. She's got blood coming out of her mouth. He's like, Morgan, you gotta wake up. I can't move my arms. I can't move my legs. What am I gonna do? She wakes up and she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then the witch, the weird folk witch, I guess, for lack of a better term, comes up behind her. And she kind of gives like a lick of the blood, and then she's like, and then the folk witch lifts her mask up, and we see that it's actually Kara,
the
hot chick that he was trying to get on earlier in the movie. Now here comes all the other bachelorettes out from behind her, and they're all, they're not really dressed like witches. They're kind of like in their pajamas, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know what a witch would dress like. I guess my version of a witch is much more hot topic-y in a way. These ones all had like bathrobes on, and I don't know. Maybe they were supposed to be ceremonial robes or something like that. Or Hobby Lobby. You're right, Tom. The Hobby Lobby would make sense too. Anyway, they come out and they're like, "Oh, you're a real fuckface, Peter. We're gonna show you the error of your ways." So they have him strapped to the bed, spread eagle, with his legs apart. They pull
underwear.
He does have underwear on, and is like a wife beater. But they pull out a crossbow, and they level it right at his taint, for lack of a better term. And they're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's not loaded." And then they load it, and they're like, "Okay, now you should be worried." So they go on about explaining to him what a fuckface he is and how he doesn't pay his female kitchen staff as much as he pays his regular kitchen staff, and various sexual harassment suits along the way and things like that. We already knew Peter was a fuckface.
Oh yeah.
These chicks at this point are now just kind of hammering it home, and the dialogue here gets pretty choppy. And I guess the worst example of an attempt at being clever is when Peter's like, "You guys are just a bunch of angry bitches," and they go, "We're not angry bitches. We're angry witches." Wow. Woo! That was a good one. That was a good one.
And they all have the same tattoo.
They all have the same tattoo. We saw it earlier when they were having dinner. Whatever the fuck. So now what we're looking at here is they're gonna like torture Peter throughout the night and like, fuck with him. And this is when I kind of got attached to these ladies because I thought, okay,
Witches.
they're witches. I like witches. I could have done without that attempt at humor right there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, I like witches. I'm a witchy kind of a guy. I like a witch movie. I like witches. I like these chicks. Now this is kind of starting to make sense, and I'm hoping to see like some like a Wicker Man kind of a thing, or maybe they're gonna burn them alive on like a voodoo doll type of a deal or something like that. Really, what they do though is a bunch of cheap parlor tricks.
Yeah.
So he's paralyzed. That's great. They start off by putting like a bracelet on him, and they convince him that it's a snake. So he's freaking right out. And he's like, "Oh, get it off me!" And then he looks down, and it's just a bracelet. And then they talk a bunch of shit to him. Of course, they're talking shit to him the whole time. They did sing the "Shut the Fuck Up" song, which I thought was kind of cool.
That was
Shut the fuck up! Nobody cares what you have to say. I'm doing a terrible rendition. I know. I apologize. If you actually watch a movie, that part's actually kind of funny. What else? They put makeup on him. They continuously threaten to castrate him and do things like that. They shave him. At one point, he does piss his pants or his underwear, I guess.
When the black lady came out, and she was like,
Yeah.
portioning or something.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have a bit of a problem with the ending of this movie. This part actually makes sense when you know the ending because the black lady and the older lady come out and they do like a weird reenactment of Peter sexually harassing a reporter.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what they were doing. I thought I was like, this is really weird. All of a sudden, they're like interviewing each other or something. But it took me, once it was over, I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. Afterward, Peter accused them of being crazy bitches, and that set the African American lady right off. She's like, I'm gonna break out the beast on your bitch ass, and she basically just starts writhing around and like sticking her tongue out, and she like started to levitate for a second, which was pretty cool. But then Kara comes out, and she's like, "Ominous Domine," and then she settles right the hell down.
Right.
Okay, now if you're paying attention, you'll notice that the African American lady doesn't actually do anything. She doesn't really change. There's nothing really other than her coming a foot or two off the floor. There's nothing really supernatural happening here, and this is going to get explained in a minute. In case you're wondering, chop blockers or YouTubers or padded room inmates, we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
So he gets all fired off, but as all this shit talking and humiliation is going on, he's slowly starting to regain the use of his hands and arms. At one point, the Puerto Rican chick and the English chick come in, and they're doing their version of the shit talking. And he's like, "Oh, you guys are just bitches," and "Oh, you're the new girl, aren't you?" There, English Morgan, and she's like, "Maybe." And he's like, "Why are you with these crazy bitches? You just need acceptance that much that you would just throw in with anybody."
You're like my daughter.
And he's kind of like breaking through to her for a second. And as that's happening, the Puerto Rican chick has got like the straight razor that she used to shave him. And then he like grabs her and like takes the straight razor and cuts himself free and gets out and starts running through the house.
Yeah.
Gets upstairs, manages to get a phone call through to Lonnie, the slower guy that ran the bait shop. And he's like, "Hey, you got to help me. There's witches in there. They're taking me hostage and you got to get over here." Unfortunately, once he does get the phone call off, at least that much of it, and then after that, they cut the phone line, and he goes for the door, and he's basically they have the place surrounded. He decides to make a mad dash through the African American girl, and she does like an MMA twisty flip choke on him and chokes him out.
That's the wrong witch to go through.
Clearly, she's been to a kickboxing class or two. She handled him like he was nothing. Yeah, pretty much. So he's out. They put him back in. Now they put him in like a full cage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" The good news though is that he got the phone call out to Lonnie. So Lonnie shows up a couple hours later with a gun, and he's like, "I'm just gonna take a look around." Kara goes out there and meets him, and she's like, "Oh, Peter just had too much to drink. He's a fucking asshole, you know that, and he's probably trying to bully you again."
Mm-hmm.
And Lonnie's not as stupid as he looks. He's like, "If you really wanted me to think you guys were just having dinner, you should have put more lights on." And then he pulls the gun out and he starts walking around the house. He gets ready to, and then this is where we get a little bit of a reveal. We're going to find out that Agnes, the housekeeper, is actually Lonnie's mom.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing some conclusions here, but I believe that Peter's father actually was the real father of Lonnie, i.e., he was nailing Agnes, the housekeeper. Because there were some allusions made via dialogue earlier in the movie about women having to bear disgusting truths and not being able to tell anybody and things like that. Very, I don't know what I'm looking for. Whatever. Anyway, so that's kind of like the big reveal. Agnes shows up and she's like, "Lonnie, you need to just get out of here." Lonnie gets back in his car and drives away, and then Agnes pulls Kara aside and she's like, "No more fuck ups. Go do what you got to do."
Yeah. Good.
Now that's all well and good. So Kara goes back inside, and now what they're doing, and I guess this part is really silly. They make Peter dress up in a young lady's like clothing, and they explain to him why this is happening to him. And they're like humiliating him, and they've got him at crossbow point.
Mm-hmm.
Crossbow. What's up with the crossbow? I get it. It's a coven of witches.
Yeah.
The crossbow looked like it came right out of a museum.
Yeah, it is.
Why? Why do you need that crossbow? It's 2019. You can buy a Glock at any Big Five sporting goods store, and I'll venture to. I would much rather be shot with a crossbow than a Glock. That's just my opinion. You say Glock over a crossbow?
Depending on where.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I felt like that was just. I mean, it's going to make sense in the end because we're going to find out the whole thing is not what you think it is. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Mm-hmm. Something that just struck me as odd. So they're making fun of him, and then we get the big reveal as to what's going on and why this is happening. So Kara, the ringleader, the hot hippy dippy chick of the group, is actually the younger sister of a woman that Peter sexually harassed and went on to commit suicide, and is actually the chick that was portrayed in the painting that we saw earlier in the house.
Right.
I.e., she, I believe she either OD'd or slit her own wrists during this picnic, and thus Peter takes no responsibility for it, of course, because he's a fucking asshole. Mm-hmm. But anybody who knew the young lady or knows Peter knows what really happened, i.e., the sister and all this coven of witches. So that's pretty cool. He's an asshole. We already know he's an asshole. Personally, I was hoping they would just kill him eventually. Like at some point, he would just die. I didn't like the fucking guy. Yeah, or in some other horrendous fashion. So they're going to have what they call a quote-unquote witch hunt. Mm-hmm. So they're going to turn Peter loose in his girly outfit and his high heels, and he's going to go running through the woods, and they're going to hunt him down for sport with one crossbow. Witchy powers notwithstanding, of course. So he goes hauling ass through the woods. They go chasing him. They're running around in their fucking witch robes, and now they've all got animal masks on too, homemade style. He goes hauling ass straight to the treehouse where he used to hang out. He goes running up there, barricades the door. As soon as he gets up there, he realized that, like, the walls of the treehouse have been decorated with like news clippings of him, various sexual assault allegations, a lot of like pictures with his eyes scratched out and things of that nature. And he's like, oh my God, these bitches have been following me. What am I going to do? He's hanging out there in the treehouse. He thinks he's okay for a minute. Whoa, way to bring the picnic down. Harshed out everyone's good time. Well, to be honest, Tom, it was a one-person picnic. Depends on where they're going to shoot me, LOL. That makes sense too, Scarlett. I think you're right, because now that I think about it, I think you're right, Scarlett. Now that I think about it, chances of me getting killed with a point blank shot from like a Glock 45 instantly, I like that. But if I get hit with a crossbow bolt, especially right in the fucking taint, that's going to hurt like a son of a bitch, and I don't think it's going to kill me. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to hang out with a crossbow bolt up my taint. Oh fuck. Leave it in. Leave it in is what I say. I'm going to die eventually. Fuck. Get out. Get out. Use the window, son of a bitch. This fucking guy. Jesus. Anyway, he's kind of barricaded himself into the treehouse. He sees headlights rolling around outside. So he's like, oh my God, I'm going to get out of here. He's running out there. He's like, hey, help me, help me. It's his sister. So Charlotte. So he's like, oh my God, Charlotte, you got to get me out of here. Jumps in the car. They start driving, and he's like, there's witches, and they're following me, and they know everything about me, and I'm so fucked. They were going to cut my dick off. And Charlotte's like, oh my God, they said they could fix you, not fix you. Right. And now we know that Charlotte's in on this little fucking hootenanny. So she pulls up, she just stops the car, and she's like, look, you motherfucker, you're a piece of shit. You've been treating women like shit your whole life. And it started back when you raped my best friend in the treehouse that you just climbed out of when we were in high school. He's like, what? Rape? I didn't rape her. I was drunk. And she's like, you did rape her, you motherfucker. Yeah. And nobody believed her. And I stood up for you because you're my brother. And everybody knows what really happened, but nothing ever happened to you because you're rich and you're a dude, and everybody knew you were going to be this mega success. So that poor young lady just kind of got swept under the rug, and you are a piece of shit. sir. So, and apparently you've been doing that to women ever since then because there's never been any consequence for it until today, you fuckface. Excuse me. So he's like, what? I was drunk. It's just a blur. I was drunk. We were kids and it's just a blur and I don't even remember. And he's like, yeah, it's always an excuse with you, you fucking asshole. And as they're having this conversation, the witches are slowly surrounding the car. Boom, the windshields blow out and they grab Peter and Charlotte and pull them out of the car. And I'm at this point, I was always on Team Witch, despite the bad writing behind this movie. But I was like, okay, they're gonna fucking burn him alive or something. And then he wakes up in his bed the next morning, safe and sound, as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
We do get a cute little montage before that about him like being nailed to a table and lit on fire, and I think they were putting stuff in his asshole or something. There's like a lot of dancing around and throwing snakes at him and stuff. But then after that's all done and over with, boom, wakes up in his bed, safe and sound. And he's like, oh, what happened? Oh, what's going on? Oh, this is where I checked out of the movie.
Yeah.
This is where I hate that shit, man. The only thing that's worse than that is when you find out he died at the beginning of the movie, and this is all like a dream or his own personal hell or some crap like that. It makes it even fucking worse.
And then they did like one of the parlor tricks where the stove like pops on seriously and she's got a clicker.
Yeah, well, no, it gets even worse. That's where it gets worse. I'm already pissed off, but now it's going to get even worse because he's like, oh. So the phone rings. He runs down there and answers it. It's Kara, and Kara's like, hey, you motherfucker. We are a society of witches, and we're going to, if you pull any more shit, we're going to burn you alive, you piece of shit. He's like, I won't say anything. Oh, thank you so much for not killing me. And then he goes back to the treehouse and he sits there and cries for a minute. And then he goes back to his daughter and he tells her what a wonderful woman she is. And while that's happening, we cut to the sister, excuse me, who's now talking to Kara. And we find out that everything that happened was a special effect.
Yeah.
The oven coming on, the car windows blowing out, they were like weird squib charges. It was all fake. Everything was bullshit in this movie. Oh no! Fucking fuck! Yeah. You just ruined it. You ruined the whole movie. Well, there you have it, inmates. That's your movie. That's Treehouse from the Into the Dark Hulu series. Yeah. I was on board. There are some writing issues. There's some dialogue issues. Up until I could even see them letting him go and being like, look, you fucking asshole, you do it again, we'll really roast you. I could see that. I wish they wouldn't have. I wish they would have lit him on fire. But as soon as we went into special effects land, that's where I said, no can do.
Yeah.
Took you that long to check out? Respect, man. And Scarlett, have you seen this movie? If you have, I would love to know when you checked out. Sounded like a great concept. It was Ginger until like the last 10 minutes. I think it would have been great if they had just followed through with it and just lit him on fire, sacrificed him to some female deity. That would have been great. Had like all the chicks that he victimized come back and stab him in the dick. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah, you had Black Phillip showed up for a second, but no, you hit the panic button at the last second. You threw the safety valve, and what we got instead was a watered down, I guess, moral story, which is don't victimize women. Which, I mean, if you're not a piece of shit, you probably shouldn't do to begin with. And I think we all can get behind that. Right. I have not, and now I know not to. I just found you, but I will watch again. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tracy. Right. Hope you dig the show. Yeah. We're talking about Treehouse from 2019. It's on Hulu. It's part of their Into the Dark series, franchise, anthology, whatever you want to call it. We spoiled it for you, and I think
you're welcome.
I think that's going to work to your benefit.
Yeah.
If you, oh God, there's a lot of problems with this movie. Ladies, I know a lot of ladies out there watching this right now. Let me ask you, ladies, a question. When you get together with your girls, do do you have anything to talk about other than being a lady? Because that's all these chicks seem to have to talk about. I know when my wife hangs out with her girlfriends, they do a lot of shit talking about other girls who are not presently with them. These ladies just want to talk about their spouses. I mean, that goes without saying. But the women in this movie just want to talk about being women, which is very strange to me. Whenever I hang out with Buddy, we don't sit around talking about our penises. For the most part, I mean, that's like the introductory. We do a little. We do a little like sword fight shape thing, and then we go into football. It's the vast majority of this movie struck me as a Massengale douche commercial.
Yeah,
and that is very off-putting to me. I felt like these characters were very one-sided. I felt like I was on the team. I was on Team Witch. This guy's a piece of shit. He needs to pay for everything he's done. I talk about serial killers. Well, Ginger, of course.
Nice.
We talk about hot guys or food. That makes sense, Tracy. That makes much more sense than what these chicks are doing. I don't know, man. It seems to me, struck me as either a Massengale douche commercial or a Folgers commercial or any kind of commercial that just needs a weird multi-ethnic group of young ladies to sit around and talk about being young ladies. I don't feel like that's what. Yeah, maybe they come stay at Pleasanton Suites, where
personal chef
and a random group of hot chicks will show up to help you discuss being a chick. I don't know, man. It just struck the dialogue involved with these young ladies did not seem very realistic to me.
Right.
I could see it like if one of them had recently been a rape victim or something, like there was some precursor to the dialogue that would, but it just seemed weird. And it didn't feel like there was, it felt like they were trying too hard to drive the not necessarily the women empowerment thing home, but just, I don't know what I'm trying, like we get it. He's an asshole. These chicks are here for these chicks are the juxtaposition of him. I understand that, but you could be a little more subtle with it. I think, you know what I'm saying. It struck me as very odd. Me either, but who wants to be normal? Last guy I met said you're weird. I was like, thanks, man. Well, I love that about you, Tracy. We don't like normal people around these parts. All right, guys, that was Treehouse from 2019. I say go ahead and skip this one.
Yeah.
Because, or if you want to watch it up until the last. You don't have to. You don't even have to watch the last 15 minutes because you already know what's going to happen. We took care of that for you. It's not that good. I'm wondering about the rest of the movies in this series.
We'll find out.
Because this one had a very, I don't want to say Lifetime feel to it or a Hallmark Channel feel to it, but it seemed very watered down. It seemed very PG-13-ish. Not a lot of cussing. Violence was, nobody even died in this movie. There were like allegations of
the sister
supposedly killed herself, but we didn't get to see that.
Right.
You know, we just saw her looking morose in a field with a picnic basket. We can draw all kinds of conclusions from that, really. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was thinking he was actually playing dumb. And then with the whole witches, he comes out with a gun. I'm like, oh, he's going to flip a switch.
That would have been cool.
That would have
been cool.
And he's like actually after these witches, and he's been watching them for a while.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was hoping for.
That would have been something. I would like that. It just didn't feel like a lot of creativity went into this, which is disappointing, especially coming from Blumhouse.
Yeah.
All right, inmates, we're going to take us a little break. We'll come back with some other stuff.
Yeah.
Pause button, please. Pause button right there. You go. All right, guys. Has anybody else out there seen this? But it doesn't sound. It sounds like we're the only ones.
Right.
And rightfully so. It's not a very good show. I don't know, man. It sounds like a generic craft movie. You're right, Ginger. That's probably putting it as gently as we could. It's I mean, now that you know what's going on and you know that they're witches and you know why they're torturing this dude, that's like the whole buildup right there. you know, and once you figure that out and you realize what they should do versus what they actually do, not very good, man. My last boyfriend really thought I was a witch. Well, that's cool, Tracy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Are you a witch, Tracy?
Yeah.
If so, I'd love to have you on the show. We can talk about witchy stuff, witchery, and douchebaggery. I'll handle the douchebag. You handle the witch. All right. I don't know, man. The feel that I got from this movie, and I hope this doesn't continue on to the rest of the series, is that these are like made-for-TV movies.
Well, they are TVMA.
What does that mean exactly?
TV mature audience.
So no,
they are like TV movies.
So you can't show boobs, right, or blood, or any. Oh God, I should have looked into that before I.
Because I was looking at a lot of the titles. I'm like, TVMA. I'm like, okay.
Fucking. But it's not even really a series. These are movies. So I don't know why they're calling this a series.
Not even a mini movie.
It's a full-length feature. It's an hour and a half long. So I don't know, man. I mean, and it's on Hulu, so they can do whatever they want, right? It's a streaming service. It's not a cable network. You would assume that they could show boobs if they wanted to. You would assume. I don't know. I'm not saying it has to have boobs, obviously. I'm just saying that it is a plus. It's something that I look for. But, I mean, there's no cussing. There was hardly any violence, really. The guy pissed himself. I think that's the worst thing that happened.
Yeah.
Right? And then you find out at the end it's all fake anyway, so who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever. Jesse says, not a horror movie, more of a cartoon. Really? Jesse, you think so? I think you have hit the nail on the head. Boobs never hurt. You're exactly right, Scarlett. I'm okay with boobs.
Yeah.
Speaking of boobs, where are you, Monica?
Yeah, Monica.
I even plucked one of his gray hairs and freaked him out. That's what I would do too, Tracy. Right? If people thought I was a witch, I would lean into it. Yeah. I mean, I would be. Yeah. You know what I can do with this 2 pubes of yours?
I got you by the hair.
I can fuck your whole shit up. Yeah, think about that next time you want to leave the toilet seat up, you fucking asshole. Fuck you right up. Yeah. You want me to make a doll out of you? I will do that, and you will not like it. Jesse says, movie sucked, no blood, no guts, no gore. Yeah, I guess that's on me, Jesse. I didn't know this was going to be like a made-for-TV thing. I figured it was on Hulu. They could do whatever they want. I don't know. I guess I was wrong about that. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to kill the feed for this week. Thank you very much for joining us on Chop Block and YouTube.
Thanks for watching.
PaddedRoomPodcast.com. Listen to this episode and its entirety. What you're watching here is actually a very small portion of what we do every week. If you feel like listening to more of this, just head on over to PaddedRoomPodcast.com. You'll hear me, buddy, 379 episodes going, and plenty to listen to over there with all the other segments that we do in the listener mail and the horror news and all of that fun stuff. So check it out if you get a chance. Thank you for joining us. Join us. Oh, what the fuck are we doing next week? Let's do the body. No, you had one picked out.
Yeah.
We got next week's movie picked out. Monica, please pick something better. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Ginger, for joining us. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Thank you, Raven. We'll see you next week.
Down.
Oh, that's the elevator one. Yeah. That one's somewhat better. I think that one's a little bit better. Join us next week for Down here in the Padded Room.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a master list of all you reviewed? Yes, you can find that, Scarlett, over at PaddedRoomPodcast.com. 370 episodes, almost 380 episodes, going on 8 years worth of content now, plus bonus episodes and reviews. I actually interviewed Mick Garris last week from Masters of Horror and other various horror films. I'm going to be releasing that probably in another day or two, so look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you over there, and join us next week for Down here in Into the Dark Month. Boy, did I fuck this up. All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.